What are these people doing here?
I think he already has like excellent footage.
All right.
Hey, how's it going? We're back here at MMS, and last year I think we had mostly everyone here. We have a couple new faces, but we did a roundtable about SCOM last year, and we've had a lot of stuff happen in the management monitoring space. So I wanted to grab these guys together. Just have them, we'll probably do introductions again because I feel like that's what we always have to do first, and then we'll kind of move on, feel how people, what they thought about the conference and the industry and some cool initiatives that we have going on. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. So unless someone on that end wants to start, I'm going to hand the mic over to Pete.
All right, yeah, so congratulations for picking a group that really likes to talk, Lee, so mission accomplished. I'm Pete Zerger. I'm a program manager at Cyrison and a cloud and data center MVP.
I'm Bob Cornelissen, also a cloud and data center MVP coming from the Netherlands.
Cameron Fuller, cloud and data center management MVP, principal consultant for Catapult Systems.
And hello, I'm John Joyner. I am also a CDM MVP, and I am Director of Product Development at ClearPoint.
Hello, I'm Natascia Heil. I'm internal IT from Celnis GmbH in Germany.
I'm Natalia. I'm data center operation analyst, and I'm from Canada.
My name is Wijckmans. I'm a CDM MVP, and I'm a managing consultant at Cortec Benelux.
So I feel like we need to divide our group into two groups. So the two Natascias are the two that work for a living, right? Natascia, I recognize your Toronto accent.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
So let's intro since I know some of who we had in the group here last year and some of who we've got in the group this year. So obviously Nat and Nat are both our kind of our new ones on the list. And where we're at is the Midwest Management Summit. And one of the reasons we wanted to have them join us today is this is their first time actually speaking at a conference of this nature. So the two of them got to co-present together on what they called the Nat and Nat presentation, right? You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it was fun. We had the topic getting best out of SCOM, and we compared SCOM with a car, and went through the topics of building a car, reviewing the car, pimping the car, other things. So it was fun.
Yes, we went through some tips and tricks, how you do with your car, and of course, read your manuals. Like, it's very important for your car.
Well said. Thank you for the intro on it. That was cool. It was a good session. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good community effort in there. It was just awesome. So let's take a look at what we saw at MMS this year. So what did you see that you felt was a really cool takeaway, or what was the crux of kind of what we've been seeing this week in MMS? Anybody want to take that? This is not a quiet group. Somebody's going to take that.
All right, let's do this.
All right, hand it to Pete.
Thank you, Pete.
So if we're evaluating this as a conference, right, when we've all been to a lot of the biggest conferences, the Ignites and so forth, and so when you come to a conference of 600 people, the first thing I wonder is this going to feel like a real conference? So the venue, I think, was absolutely fantastic. The acoustics were good. The AV support when we had problems was actually much better than I've had even in Vegas, so that was all great. I don't know about you guys. I had some anxiety about the food situation since people had to kind of come and go on their own. But the really nice thing about a conference that doesn't serve food, when they sit you by a venue that has everything from Burger King to Benihana, nobody complains about bad food, do they? Because they make their own food choices. So no complaints there. But for me, I think I was just surprised that it was such a well-organized event. Now I think the overlapping sessions are a little surprising. So that's a little disconcerting when people are leaving your 45-minute Q&A because they're going to the next session. So it felt normal by about the third session, I think.
Yeah, the problem is also if you have to go over the hour and you want to still present something, then they lose information.
Yeah, that's true. And you guys didn't. You said pimping SCOM, right?
Yep.
I wanted to make sure that I actually heard her say that. And really, I just wanted you to say it again. So you guys did run over the hour, I assume, yeah?
Yeah, especially because Flat had to come in and answer questions.
Yeah. which was great. It was a great addition, by the way. So having the CDM product team actually here was really nice, having them in-house. I will say that while their session ran a little bit over, I think we probably won the award for the longest overrun. We had one that ran 2 hours and 15 minutes, so we slaughtered the session times, unfortunately.
Can I give you your award now?
Yeah, what's the award?
Okay, so Cameron and Dieter win the award for poor time management.
He assumes it was me and Dieter, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Actually,
I have the record of the longest Q&A, so.
hold on. He does have the record of less than Q&A, but I'm going to defend myself here first. It was not Cameron and Dieter that did that. It was Cameron, Joseph, and Vlad that did that.
Oh, well,
See?
Joseph Chen couldn't be on time if his life depended on it, could he? He's going to run over. It's just a question of how far.
He runs over, but he always provides great information.
See, it wasn't me.
See, now Dieter
But-
did win though for the longest Q&A, and the reason why we say the longest Q&A was he had a great way to adapt to this. By the way, he had a session that was supposed to go an hour and 45, and at like 20 minutes before his session is even supposed to be at the hour mark, people start walking in. I'm kind of looking, that's great. Hey, you don't usually see people come in late, and it was okay until like 50 people walked in, and then I see Wally Mead walked in. When Wally walks into an ops manager session, you know that something is wrong. So I asked Wally, I was like, what are you here for? And he said, they're at this other quick Q&A thing. So they had double booked the room. So Dieter ended up having to end after 1 hour, no Q&A time. So he took the room with him, brought them over to the other side, and they were still doing Q&A. When I checked with them, an hour and 45 minutes later, they were still on Q&A.
There you go. Dedicated to your work.
Yeah.
They all wanted to know whether I monitored my wife on other levels than I showcased. So because I did a session about how to monitor your wife with Ops Manager, and they basically were all blown away because I could actually do that with Ops Manager. Normally, a lot of people think Ops Manager isn't cool, so I'm trying to put the cool into Ops Manager. So, and they all were very surprised, and no, they weren't all asking whether I could monitor their wife, but still, I mean, I got a lot of questions how I actually did it. So.
It sounds dirty when you talk about it, Dieter. I'll have to.
It doesn't involve probing, and results may vary. So.
But the longest session, the longest session was from Vlad, Joseph, and Sam at the pre-con, about 4 hours 15.
4 hours and 4 hours and 15 minutes on the pre-con.
While we're giving our nominations for best session, I wanted to give credit to Nat and Nat for having the most groupies after the session, because I was invited to come to their Q&A, and I arrived almost an hour after the start of QA. There was still 15 or 20 people there, and it was so engaging. These are all SCOM experts that we continued to dinner, and we literally found a place in the mall that could seat 15 for dinner, and the Q&A just kept going, and it turned into a little party and get together for SCOM people, and it was a really precious time. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Wow, the lovely ladies at System Center. I like it.
Well, someone can, maybe we can share. I think something that we did last year is maybe we didn't go to every person, but some of us shared high-level thoughts, impressions like what's on people's minds. What are the hot pain points and topics? So, does anyone want to start maybe sharing some of those thoughts?
Well, I've been looking at this conference and seeing these sessions, and there's a lot of sessions also about cloud infrastructure, OMS, which is of course a very big thing at this moment. People are asking real questions about it, like how can we actually use it in real world scenarios, and these are also things like what we have been showing in our session with the ACS examples and others as well. And I feel that people are really getting together into this hybrid scenario.
But I also would like to add something. The thing with OMS and the cloud is evolving too fast at the moment. That was also an outcome I found had at one of the Q&As, because the people have problems to catch up with all of this, and they don't see where it goes and in which stage they can start jumping on the train. Yeah? Yeah. And that's not clear at the moment, so Microsoft has to improve that communication to the customers.
Yeah, it's interesting from a challenge perspective. The other side of it is that on the OMS side of this, people were actually almost nobody that we talked to initially had heard of OMS. And by the time Dieter and I did our last session, we asked if anyone had not heard of OMS. There's nobody raising their hand. Does anybody want us to go into OMS? No, they've heard enough about OMS by that point in time. So for the folks here at MMS who told Pete and crew that they needed more OMS sessions, they obviously succeeded in getting more OMS sessions in here. So it got covered really well. So thought that part was good.
But there was nearly no information about Operations Manager 2016.
Yeah.
So that was
Because
interesting.
there's nearly not that much information about Operations Manager 2016. 2 minutes, yeah.
No,
oh,
but,
oh, yeah.
I heard that last year there were sessions about it. So this
Yeah,
was skipped, and we had a lot of information about OMS. And the interesting thing was what I found so as a review from all the operations manager sessions, that we really had less overlaps. So the information was very good, even if we have not really prepared things before to ask what the others are preparing and presenting. And I think the people had a lot of information from all the sessions.
Yeah, I would agree.
There was also a lot of opportunity to point to each other's sessions, because we got to know like what everybody's doing, so you can just point to each other and going from every level to the next step.
Yeah, one final thing I probably want to put on the table is that I was really astonished that there was so much interaction with the attendees, and even when you were walking in the hallway. I mean, because it's so small and everything is right in the right places, the exhibition place and all, you actually bump into a lot of people who are actually asking a lot of questions, and which sometimes go over your sessions, sometimes they go over completely different topics. I mean, that was one thing I'm taking away from this event, that I had huge interaction and I got to learn a lot of cool guys, because normally you hang out with speakers and some attendees, but everybody just comes up to you and has a chat or has a question. There's no reluctancy to actually come over to you and ask something. I don't know, you guys felt the same way? Sorry, girls as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lots of questions in the sessions too. I didn't, there were topics that we had planned, 3 to 5 minutes that ran 20 minutes because there were so many questions. And I found Wally and I had maybe 150 people in the room, and I found myself in one spot actually running the mic back and forth as we're talking. So that's exciting.
Similar on the intimacy of the event, and something that I've really never experienced in any other events besides this Midwest Management Summit, is that the audience, they respect one another, and a question, a group thought, it may be picked up by a thought leader in the audience, who knows more on that topic than anyone in the room. And it's not about the speakers. It's at least in my sessions, there was an organic flow that worked extremely well, and everyone walked away feeling that they improved their worldview really as a result of the session. It was awesome.
And one of the things as well which struck me in the beginning is that there's no speaker room. So everyone is just prepping their sessions on a table, everybody just walks up, so there's no little cave where speakers can hide or something, which is a good thing actually, because normally at other events you go into the speaker room, you interact with the speakers, and there are no attendees allowed. So I saw it here, there's no speaker room, you're just sitting somewhere, there are a lot of people coming up, and you're getting ideas as a speaker from the attendees during that process as well, and that's the interaction actually.
And from my perspective, I also felt that it's not an advertisement summit from Microsoft. It was not a Microsoft event. Yeah, it was not marketing, and it was really a community event, and that's what I felt.
I also really like the fact that for the first time we did, as an entire group here at MMS, they did something on a charity side, which I thought was great. So the fact that they pulled this in, and this came from the MVPs, this came from the speakers, this came from the attendees, and so we actually, grassroots effort, did a fundraiser for a charity that Bob and his wife run called House of Tales, which is a dog shelter in Thailand. And so we had some great raffle stuff on that today, raised a lot of money for that, which was awesome. And then for Veterans Day, we also did the Wounded Warrior Project and gathering funds for that. So I thought it was really nice that, they brought this and the MMS team embraced that and, brought it to the whole crowd here and everybody participated, which was awesome.
Yes, including the vendors.
Yeah, including the vendors who were just donating swag so fast we could barely keep up. It was awesome. So, oh yeah. Yeah, it was very cool.
And there was a freeing aspect. So this event was not recorded in any way, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a freeing aspect when there's not somebody in the back of the room telling you need to remain on stage. And you have the freedom of movement. So I found that with my co-presenters, with Wally in particular, he likes to wander as well. And when Lee was presenting, I went back and actually sat amongst the audience, and I'm talking to Lee as though I'm in the audience, and I actually quite forgot what I was doing. I was sitting in the audience watching as Lee's demoing, and we were just having a conversation. That intimacy factor that John mentioned is absolutely bizarre and wonderful, and I was immediately much less disappointed that we weren't recording when I stepped off that stage and could just wander around and sort of touch people and talk and so forth. It's
Yeah, and perhaps also not the time pressure because of this. Yeah, when you have to record it, you have to stop at a certain time.
Oh, exactly. And we all, I swore that we wouldn't have any session that went on an hour and 45, and had two where we had to get up and leave at an hour and 45. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yes.
So I'd say all in all, from my perspective at least, this was a really impressive event. I mean, we've done a lot of different events over the years. I think that this one really, they did a great job with it. It was well organized. The sessions ran well. There was great socialization to it. You bring it all together, and I'd say all in all, very impressive. And I'm happy that it went so well, and looking forward to seeing what they come up with next year.
Oh, yes.
And really, this was all the brainchild of Brian Mason at some point, wasn't it? So I feel like, and I'm going to say this to Brian now since he's not in the room, I always feel like Brian Mason is this very impressive, rich, older, uncle that I always very much want to impress. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised that an event that, Brian Mason is behind went so well. We were actually with one of the organizers at lunch today, and I saw that you guys got a nice little unexpected thank you for some of your efforts in the background, which was, I thought, very nice. So looking forward to number 3.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Onward and upward.
Next year it is, assuming they accept us and we didn't get in trouble for running over so badly. Okay.